Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, and yes, we closed the long today, and looking at how this has been going, it seemed to have been a perfect time. So we'll go over Bitcoin, we'll go over the thought process of, why I closed the long, where we are likely going next, and roadmap really the next possibilities, and we'll take a look at a few other altcoins that might be showing some potential opportunities as well. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin. So, we had our long pretty much from this support bounce is very important. I keep emphasizing the importance of this green ascending trend line. It's very important, okay? It's very powerful. And we, open long virtually around this zone, and we were able to close our long as I was mapping a break past 42,000 and just right at 43,000, just under really, about 50 bucks off, and we closed right around that zone, maybe a little bit lower. And I, at that point, you want to take into account the risk to reward. You've been waiting for it to get to that level and you're about 50 bucks away. It's best to just pull the trigger because we were in a bearish pattern overall, so you could have a retrace, and look what we're experiencing. Not too long after we closed our long, hopefully you followed me, we were having a pretty significant sell-off, and we're going to see if this candle is going to end up closing in the red. If this candle ends up closing in the red and it closes somewhere in this zone around 41,000, 41,200, well, you're going to see a pretty significant impulse lower, challenging this ascending green line once more as support. Whether it breaks or not, well, that remains to be seen, but this is a clear denial if we close this candle in the red, and it's likely going to really indicate that we're probably going to see a move lower and probably breaking through here. The impulse higher came off of Tesla, right? Because like I've been saying, crypto, Bitcoin, they follow the tech sector in the equity market, and Tesla is a pretty large portion of that sector, and Tesla had a great earnings report, so they had a nice pop, and Bitcoin followed, and now we're seeing that get sold into, and people, smart money, are taking the profits, and we can thankfully put ourselves in the smart money bucket because we took our profits right near the top. So what are we going to see coming next? Well, again, it's pretty early. We still have about 6 hours left in this daily candle. Of course, it's possible for it to get bought back up. If it should get bought back up, you probably will eventually see a move towards the top of the wedge. And if that's broken through, like I've been saying, look for a test probably towards the top here. So 47,000 to 48,000, which will map out to this bottom part of the bear flag that played out some weeks ago to be resistance. And if that's broken through, then of course the next step is the red line here, and that will be massive resistance, extreme resistance, and extremely unlikely to be broken, which is around the 50,000 mark, maybe a little bit higher depending on how long this would take. Okay, but this is actually not the most probable path. This is not the most probable path. The most probable path is that you either have the retrace down now or another move higher towards nearing the top of this wedge, and then the curl over like that. Okay, and if it's going to break the wedge, it would hold the 42,000 zone and then curl out. All right, and if that happens, then you're likely to going all the way up back towards the top of this larger structure, the 50,000 mark. But you're likely going to see a drop back to this support line here. So either here or either here. All right, and once this happens, in my opinion, this will break. All right, so this support will break. Either it'll break right through, or we'll have some sort of bearish consolidation like a bear flag form, and then it breaks through and brings us down to the bottom of the larger structure. Okay, the larger structure, and we'll be sitting around 38,000, 37,500. And from there, I think you'll see a lot of demand. It will take some time to break through if it is going to break through. And if it does, as I've been saying, 33K is your first level. And then after that, a sub 30K, about 28,000, 29,000 is what I would tell you to expect coming next. And then once we get there, I have to see how the price action looks. But anywhere from the mid 20Ks to the low 30Ks is a great spot for long-term accumulation. So it is possible that could be the bottom, but that may be. It's not something we know, and the probabilities aren't pretty clear about it. The probabilities on Bitcoin are leaning more towards a larger drop, just based off past history, past performance. But again, I'd rather just wait to see how price reacts as we get there. But as you can see, this daily candle here is extremely, extremely bearish, and we do not want to really jump the gun on how low it will go, but we do want to keep our eye on it now, as if this starts turning red and starts closing with a lot of pressure, that this is likely going to break. Okay, so, and again, as it goes lower, we'll look for long opportunities. We'll look for bounce plays mainly. Okay, so just keep your eye on that, especially if you're trying to follow me. Make sure the alerts are on. And so far, we haven't really had a loser. And it's been pretty incredulous. It really is insane. I don't know what the streak is now, but we're talking about, I want to say, anywhere from 30 to 40 different trades, and we haven't really had a loser yet. In crypto and stocks, it's even more, which is pretty nuts. But again, don't take this winning streak as the norm. Variance will come, and I will get some losses. So if you are following me, please make sure you're taking risk into account, and there's no guarantees. Okay, so let's take a look at Solana. All right, so Solana, that was a great play. Broke out again. Not really too interesting right now. Could be painting a bearish pattern. It's very unlikely if Bitcoin starts really following through on the weakness it's showing today. You're likely going to see a breakdown lower, all the way back down to 98, and then eventually lower towards this ascending trend line. Okay, but if it should hold well, like let's say it starts trading within this candle here, then you have the potential of a possible like bull flag forming, and that's pretty nice. So if that happens, like something like this is happening, then you could likely see another push higher towards 116 and probably even towards like the 120 mark. Again, Bitcoin isn't really giving us that indication that this is going to happen. So I wouldn't say this is the most probable path. I would say the most probable path is at least a retest down towards 98. And if it holds it, it holds it. In my opinion, it probably won't. It might veer to the downside kind of like this. But if that happens, you actually might be getting another bearish pattern, a bullish pattern that's larger, which is like a wedge, right? So like some sort of wedge pattern that's descending into support, kind of like this, which would be pretty bullish, right? So you'll have a pretty nice bullish move that might get you towards the bottom, towards the ascending trend line here. So that would be a pretty good, if this structure plays out. This, again, this is very early. There's no evidence of this. It's just a possibility. It's what may be happening. If this structure does end up being the path, then this is a great long opportunity. You want to try to get as close to $88, maybe $92. It'd be a fabulous opportunity. So we just have to give this time. But as of right now, in the short term, I do see another drop towards $98, as Bitcoin is looking pretty weak as of right now. Okay, so Solana, great trade for us, but no opportunity as of right now. Let's take a quick look at Avalanche, and this is gonna be a bit longer video because I'm gonna go through a bunch of coins. Okay, here's Avalanche, and pretty bearish, but again, holding this structure, very important structure, midterm bearish structure. But even this look at this short-term structure here. So this is actually this is more of a bear flag, right? So it's trading within this bar here, but then look at the context of the drop. So let's just build that out real quick. So you have this rising structure here, sort of like this, okay? So someone like that. You could even do this, same thing, okay? Same thing. It's a flag, all right? And then you have this fall here, and then it's now curling, rising above a support, the support line in a larger bearish pattern. Okay, so this is a clear indication that Avalanche is bearish, and right now there's an attempt to get the fuel to break under that support line to get towards $69-$70. So be very careful if you're going long here. This has held as support, but this structure that's being formed here, this pattern, is a pattern that's meant to break supports. It's meant to break through. So the probabilities are leaning towards the downside. Again, very dependent on Bitcoin, but as we've seen, Bitcoin is showing some significant weakness today, and this could definitely play out. All right, and if that happens, whether taking a position at $70 would be viable, it would really depend on how it got there. Especially so let's say it breaks through. If it just like waterfall straight down, it would be pretty tempting to take a position there and look for another add-on towards $65, which is somewhat of a psychological level, but it does pinpoint with some of these wicks here. So that would not be the worst place to maybe get a range of possibly, you have a drop that hits $70 and then a pretty quick drop to, $65 or something like this. Then it breaks through like that, and then from 65 it starts a rebound that brings it back up to 70. So that would be my thinking. I would do maybe like 1% here at $69, and then 2 to 4% here at $65, and then maybe aim for a retest of $70 as resistance, which would bring our average from here, from our original buy, and probably all the way down towards $66. So it'll be a pretty nice gain. Again, it'd be very dependent on how it breaks through and also how Bitcoin's looking. If it comes down fairly slowly from this break down towards $70, then I'm gonna want to aim lower for an entry. So I would like to aim lower for an entry. Maybe $60 would be key. All right. So Avalanche right now, no trade, but definitely in the process of possibly playing out this larger structure. And if this structure does play out, I do want to emphasize $50 is very likely to be taken out, and it's very likely to go lower. Okay. Very, very likely, actually. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum. So Ethereum also showing a lot more weakness. Again, you're getting some clues here that's saying that, hey, the buyers just won't do it up here, right? So they're telling us this is it. That right now we don't have it in us to buy up here. So the smart sellers are like, oh gosh, all right, so we're gonna have to start giving the buyers a deal. We have to find out what price they like. And now, now it's starting to really look like a flag pattern of some sort, right? Starting to look like we do have a bear flag here, and it's going to try and break 3,000, and it probably will, to get us down towards this level, 2,800, which I think is a very probable level. Very, very probable level. And this whole support zone here is going to be very powerful, very powerful. It's going to take a lot for this to break. It's really going to take, I believe, Bitcoin probably breaking under this support line and maybe sitting at 37,000, 38,000 for Ethereum to start breaching this line consistently and breaking through. I eventually believe it will break through, but it will take some time. So, this would be a pretty interesting place to maybe target a long position, but again, you have to see the context. I mean, overall, it's pretty bearish because in my opinion, this is going to go lower. It's going to go lower and probably towards, 2,000 sub 2,000. How low, we just have to wait and see. But this is a overall fairly bearish. So in the short term, I'm saying look towards 2,800 to be revisited. And again, if this flag doesn't play out, then you have this line here that will act as resistance, and eventually it'll lead towards 3,400 if that should happen. But again, this is the most improbable path right now, as of right now. All right, and let's take a look at XRP. So XRP, again, like I've been saying, sitting in this zone. It's going to be here for a while. There's not much to really say here. It's really following Bitcoin fairly well, but again, like I've always said, XRP's had very little follow through as this whole lawsuit with the SEC has been playing out. So it's very difficult to see any major momentum outside of this range, this support range. It's very, very difficult. But if Bitcoin should start breaking higher, I do see XRP getting back to 85 cents. But if Bitcoin starts breaking lower, you're likely going to see it towards that sub 70 cents, so 60, 64, 62 cents, 65 cents, like that whole range. and then eventually maybe even that 50-cent range if it gets really bad, like if Bitcoin starts breaking under under the actual wedge pattern, so like towards 36,000 and 33,000, you'll probably see XRP going towards 50 cents. Okay, so definitely want to keep our eye on it. But just remember, we do have that lawsuit that hangs above it. Let's take a quick look at Luna. So Luna, yep, okay. So Luna, again, it's challenging the bottom of that bear flag that it had broken, and now it's encroaching on this resistance zone. It's becoming an interesting play to go short. I would like for it to go a bit higher. It's tempting to open now, to be honest, but I'd like for it to go towards 103-ish to maybe 106. But I am going to contemplate opening now. It's very tempting because I do believe that this general area is where Luna will find its denial. It's a very nice place to open short. So, if you're following me and you're, a member, be on the lookout for my ping on this. I'm definitely going to be watching this very, very closely. Very interesting. And if it does get denied here and begin to continue its trend towards the downside, of course, $85 is going to be a level to watch, but more so, I do see a drop beyond towards $70 and eventually this ascending black line. Okay, if I were to go short here, $85 may be enough. Definitely may be enough. It's about 12%. That is a pretty enticing short. And if it does break under, which it's likely, you could possibly see a 20%, maybe even 20+% move on Luna over the next month and a half. So definitely keep my eye on this for sure. Okay, and let's take a quick look at Link, and then I think that's going to be it. So Link, wow. So Link actually looks really bearish. Yeah, Link looks very. So that's interesting actually. So take a look at this. Let's turn on the pivots so people can see. Okay. So Link looks fairly bearish, but there is a pattern here that could be pretty bullish. A larger pattern. So let's start with let's actually start with the bearish pattern. So here we clearly have a flag pattern that's forming above the support line of 13.40, so $13.40. So clearly bearish. If it plays out, which it's very likely to, gonna break through and go towards under $11.42 and probably towards $10, sub $10. Okay, so this is definitely the fuel trying to be found to break under $13.40, and really this whole zone right here. Okay, but take a look at this. We can maybe see where that drop for that flag will stop, or at least slow down. So we have this veering downside here. Okay, and then we have from 13.48 to 12.40. So right here. Okay, so look at this. So we have this, I would say, veering channel to the downside, right? So now we see if this breaks, this is likely where you're going to start seeing a lot of price interaction. So it's around $11 and change. So $11.30, well, I say $11 because it depends on how fast it drops, but $11, maybe going towards $10.50. All right, so you're going to see some sort of interaction here. Very likely you'll see some bullish buying here, and it's going to try and come back up and test 13.40 as resistance. And if that holds, which it's very likely to hold as resistance, it will come lower and veer down and then eventually break under. Okay, so that's what I see probably happening, and this would be a very interesting place to start a long position possibly and target this zone right here. So Link is bearish, just like the rest of crypto, but there is possibly a little bullish structure, bullish play forming here. So you do want to keep your eye on that. All right, so I think that's about it. All right, so if you enjoyed the content, please like, subscribe, share, that, and yeah, and make sure if you are following me that you are being wise, and that even though we've had extreme amounts of success consistently, and we really haven't had any losses, that you do keep risk risk control at the top of your list of responsibilities, because that's all that matters. That's the way we stay successful. Okay, so remember to be patient, to be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care.